Right, our 24th and final heat. It's been a long day and we're into the deep of night, but the night is still young, as they say. Okay, 24th and final heat today. It's Heat 3, DD2 Masters. Let's have a look at your starting grid for one final time today. James Beecroft and Dennis Valentin Sturm round out the front row, representing Great Britain and Cyprus, respectively. Alessandro Glauser and Karl Klebor, that's row 2. Tom Dessert and Jörg Müller, row 3. Morgan Riesch and Sebastian Humpelhardt, row 4. Slavomir Malansky and Thomas Piet, row 5, completing the top 10. Completing the 21 strongest, Christophe Capitain, Christoph Adams, Pritzai, Bruno Dos Santos, Ian Getz, Robert Schlunsen, Michael Becker, Thierry de Jong, Peter Gyotai, Maxim Shaposhnikov, and Nicolas Mazinas. So 10 minutes on the clock, plus an additional lap for one final time today. And you know what? I've really enjoyed this experience. My voice might sound a bit deeper in the octave stage right now, but it's been absolutely enthralling. We've had fantastic wheel-to-wheel racing action. We've had nearly 4 hours of it here today. We've got another 3 tomorrow. I really, for the first time today, I'm lost for words. I really am. I remember what happened a couple of years ago for the B&L Rotax Golden Trophy. And now I've had this experience. This is enthralling. Seeing the glint of the paint jobs on the stickers on these karts and also on the race helmets of these drivers. And the floodlights here completely bathe the track. And what a way to cap off what's been an incredibly long day in the office up here for yours truly. But I'm looking forward to catching up with some friends, having a good meal, and maybe a couple of drinks or two. But I think everyone today has definitely earned a good rest ready for tomorrow, because tomorrow, if we thought today was something, tomorrow's going to bring a whole different level. It's quite a somber moment, isn't it, this evening? Because of the fact that we've got to this stage of the competition, and tomorrow is going to be just as unpredictable. So Beecroft and Toom on the front row. 10 minutes, plus 1 lap. Red lights on the gantry. They now make their way through the final corner, and for one last time today on Heat Stay, into the tram lines. Revs rise. Are we ready? We are lights out and off and racing. And a great start by James Beecroft. And also, Alessandro Glauser manages to pip ahead of Dennis Valentin Sturm. In the meantime, Jörg Müller's got his way up into 5th place. After what was a disaster for the German in the previous heats, where he got turned around and finished down the order in around 16th position, he now is going to be fighting at the sharp end of the grid. Oh, fireworks, folks. Here we go. I don't need to light a match for this one. It's all out on track. As they all filter their way off of the Europalan for the first time through turn 7. And James Beecroft leads. Glauser second, Toom in third. 4th, it's Karl Klebor. 5th, it's Jörg Müller. 6th, it looks to be, I think that could be Sebastian Humpelhardt. And 7th, it's Morgan Riesch, who's already won 2 races so far in the heat stages today. Lap 1 completed. Beecroft coming under fire from Glauser. Good to also see Jan Schwitter earlier on this weekend. That normally works with Alessandro Glauser. All sparks fly from the left front of James Beecroft's car as the chassis grinds against the curbs. Now they filter their way down into the Europolan once again. So line astern, these drivers are at the moment. Beecroft has got a little bit of daylight at the end of the tunnel because at the moment things are changing. Carl Klebot, the back end squirreling under braking. I think Dennis Toom is not at the sharper end of the grid now as they come across the line once again to complete another lap as Glauser looks up the inside of Beecroft with 8 minutes on the clock remaining. Beecroft stays ahead, the 5:17 from the United Kingdom. Good to see Jörg Müller setting personal best at the moment, but the driver quickest of anybody is the one in what is 10th position, Michael Becker. Running on the Comcar chassis as Jörg Müller looks up the inside of Carl Klebot, goes side pod to side pod, and Müller gets his way through, and Mogarich takes advantage of the situation. Oh, really, really great to see Jörg Müller here in person and actually giving his all. Thomas Piet up the inside of Carl Klebot. There's Sebastian Rumpelhardt. So Rumpelhardt is behind Thomas Piet, Dennis Valentin Thum, and Jörg Müller gets passed by Mogarich, but goes into the slipstream down the start-finish straight. Jörg Müller, will he pull to the right-hand side as Glauser comes under fire from Dennis Valentin Thum and has been able to stay ahead. As it's all kicking off, Sebastian Rumpelhardt ahead of Carl Klebot, Slavomir Miransky, Tom Dessert, Christophe Capitan, Robert Schlunzen already up 3 places, up into 16th position. Still plenty of this race left, 6.5 minutes to go. It's all handbags in the night, not at dawn. That will come tomorrow morning, folks. But Dennis Thum looking to try and close and get past Alessandro Glauser in the meantime. Through turn 12, Beecroft still holding on to the lead. He's managed it thus far. As we're fast approaching 4 minutes completed and just over 6 minutes and 10 to go. Beecroft, Glauser, Thum, Riesch, Müller, Thomas Piet running at the top 6, Sebastian Rumpelhardt in 7th, Carl Klebot, Slavomir Miransky has now been passed by Tom Dessert for 9th, Michael Becker, Christophe Capitan, Robert Schlunzen, Fritz Sai is also there, Thierry de Jong, Ian Gepps, Bruno Dos Santos, Christoph Adams, rounding out the top 18. All the drivers are still circulating thus far. So Beecroft still doing what he needs to. Mogarich up the inside, through for 3rd place. Past Dennis Valentin Thum. And now that has all changed. Thomas Piet in the meantime has got past Jörg Müller for 5th place. And Jörg Müller has lost out to both Sebastian Rumpelhardt and Carl Klebot in the meantime. So Jörg Müller now drops down into what is 8th place. He was running as high as P4 earlier on as we're at half-time. And Mogarich looking for the three-peat. And what that basically means, for those that aren't in the know, that is 3 wins on the trot. And Mogarich won Heat 1. He won Heat 2. Could he be the only driver that gets a clean sweep this weekend? We might find out as he's up into 2nd, ahead of Alessandro Glauser. So Mogarich could be the driver on pole position for tomorrow's pre-final. The top 4 covered by just under half a second last time around. where it all gets rather interesting because everything is starting to close up in the last 3 and 3/4 minutes or so. But James Beecroft has held on to the lead. It's not a case of if, it's a case of when. It's a bit of joie de vivre from Mogarish, as we've seen all the way through qualifying and also through the 3 heats today. Can the Frenchman put on one final assault? And he's going for it! Up the inside goes Mogarish, but James Beecroft back up the inside to retake the lead through turn 12. The pair side by side, it was 14 thousandths across the line, and Riche now goes through. Gets the lead on the start of lap number 8, and this could open the door for Alessandro Glauser, the Swiss driver, trying to get past. But Beecroft shuts the door firmly as Thomas Piet gets up the inside of Dennis Valentin Sturm. And that is for position, that is for 4th on the road. And now Sebastian Rumpelhardt and Karl Klebo, Tom Dessert, Robert Schlunsen. Whoa, hold the phone, he's at it again as the Dane up from 16th to 9th, that's 7 positions. And looking at what happened last time, Robert Schlunsen in Heat 1, he got from 16th to P3. Don't count him out yet. And then in Heat 2, he also managed to make his way up the order, but it was ended up being P15 because he got a 5-second front fairing penalty post-race. So 2 minutes and 5 seconds still on the clock remains this evening, plus an additional lap. But Mogarish has now started opening up the gap. And the gap now has been stretched to just under 6/10. Sebastian Rumpelhardt has a bit of a ding-dong battle right now with Thomas Piet. Dennis Sturm just behind. There's Karl Klebo in the 5:10. De Backer, as he's more commonly known. And there's Robert Schlunsen battling away with Slavomir Moransky, I believe. Slavomir Moransky behind. So into the final 60 seconds plus 1 lap of the race meeting, or of the race day here. It's been a long one. My voice is still tracking true. And tomorrow it's going to be another 14 races as we head into what's going to be, I think, the penultimate lap of the day. As Dennis Sturm past Thomas Piet. Just behind is Karl Klebo, Robert Schlunsen waiting in the wings to see what happens. And he's made up 8 positions from 16th to 8th in the meantime. As Sturm nearly going side by side through turn 6. Klebo to the inside of the Cypriot base driver. And doesn't get through. Schlunsen and Dessert right with them now as we're fast counting down the timer. In just a couple of moments' time, it's going to hit 0. As Mogarish, by my estimation, will be at the leading the rankings after the heats after this one, once everything goes through. So timer hit 0, and there's a move that's just happened. James Beecroft has lost out 3rd to Sebastian Rumpelhardt. Mogarish looking for 3 for 3. As Thomas Piet up the inside of James Beecroft, who ends up running a bit wide coming out of turn 2. Dennis Sturm is there. Karl Klebo, Robert Schlunsen, Tom Dessert, Slavomir Moransky rounds out the top 10. And who would have thought this one, that a team boss would be leading the ranking after the heats in a class? And it looks like it's going to be happening here in DD2 Masters. Because Mogarish now makes his way down to turn 10 for the final time. 2 more corners to negotiate. And effectively, that is it. because now Morgan Riche, one more corner. The 5-1-5 from France takes the clean sweep on heats day. Morgan Riche does the business. Well done to him. And Alessandro Glauser rounds out the top two. Sebastian Rumpelhart takes third, ahead of Thomas Piet, and a noble battle all the way through, leading up until about 3 minutes to go for James Beecroft. There is provisionally your ranking after heats leader in DD2 Masters, France's Morgan Riche. And I hope, César Gazot, you are watching, my friend, because your old mechanic has just come back with a bang, and he's done it on a DD2 Masters class here at Karting Genk. Whew. Full course yellows now employed for the final time here today. I've got one word for this atmosphere right now. Wow. Morgan Riche, victorious, third time's the charm. He's done 3 on the bounce, and he won by nearly 1.3 seconds. Alessandro Glauser in second for Switzerland. Germany's Sebastian Rumpelhart in third, ahead of Thomas Piet. James Beecroft in fifth. Dennis Valentis-Turm representing Cyprus, P6, ahead of Robert Schlunsen from 16th to 7th. Karl Klibor, Tom Dessau, Slavomir Moransky, Michael Becker, Pritz Sai, Ian Gepps, Jörg Müller, Christophe Capitan rounding out the top 15, rounding out the 21 strong. It was Christoph Adams, Thierry de Jong, Mikolas Mazinas, Bruno Dos Santos, Peter Gyurtai, and Maxim Shaposhnikov.